We've all made mistakes. Tomorrow, Russell Crowe dies for this.
Que soy independiente, independiente. Sola me busco lo mío sin pretendiente. No soy adicta al dinero, pero está en mi mente. No vivo del que dirán ni estoy pendiente a gente. Porque soy independiente, independiente. Sola me busco lo mío sin pretendiente. No soy adicta al dinero, pero está en mi mente. No vivo del que dirán ni estoy pendiente a gente.
Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This video is my review for the season premiere of the final season of The 100. Yes, we're finally at the final season. I can't believe it. I love the show and this was an amazing premiere that has made me even more excited for the rest of the season than I already was, which was already a lot. Although I still have some worries, but let's save that for later. So this episode was titled From the Ashes, and that title can really be related to everything that was going on throughout the episode. First of all, they were trying to rebuild this world from the ashes of what was left behind of Sanctum that was ruled by the Primes, and Clarke wanted to rebuild and build a better world out of it. Then, with the Anomaly storyline, we had a special appearance from Ash. I don't know if that was on purpose to relate to the title, but it's something that I thought about. And finally, there are all the ashes at the end of the episode. As I was saying, the plot of the episode is that after the end of last season, the Primes were killed and exposed as fakes, and Sheiheda awoke all of the One Crew people and the prisoners before he was believed to be killed when the flame was destroyed. Now there's tension between all these different groups of people forced to live together, so Clarke and her friends put themselves in charge and are trying to rebuild this world. Meanwhile, Echo and Gabriel are dealing with Bellamy and Octavia's disappearance and the arrival of Diosa's daughter Hope. The episode picked up right where we left off last August, with Bellamy, Echo, and Gabriel after Octavia was stabbed by Hope and disappeared. To be honest, I found the storyline really confusing most of the time, where I couldn't really hear what was going on and what they were saying. I watched some recap videos before the premiere to remind myself of last season, but all I remember that happened at the end was that Bellamy and Clarke hugged, and she said she tried to do better, and then there was a scene with Octavia. So maybe there was more explanation about the anomaly last season that I just don't remember. Anyway, as most people, including myself, predicted, the body being dragged across the ground in the trailer turned out to be Bellamy. However, I was predicting that he would die, but that didn't happen. Instead, he was dragged away and disappeared, leaving Echo and Gabriel behind. This scene was pretty confusing, like, who was taking him away and throwing Echo around? Was it the one from the anomaly, or did one of those anomaly people, like, with the beehive-looking masks turn invisible? After Bellamy's disappearance, Hope was not willing to join Echo and Gabriel and attack them. However, she later found a note stuck in her arm that said to trust Bellamy. It seems both her and Octavia lost their memories after exiting the anomaly, and either Hope or Diosa must have known about this, and that's why Hope had that note to remind herself what she was supposed to do. Once she realized that the other two knew who Bellamy was, she was now willing to work with them to find Bellamy, which seems to be where their storyline will be going this season. But that makes me wonder what Octavia's storyline will be now that Bellamy is not searching for her. One of my worries going into the episode and the season as a whole was that Hope would be similar to Mia Smoke and Arrow or Nora West Allen in The Flash, where this future kid of a main character ends up randomly coming into the show and taking over the show. However, Jason is a much better writer than Mark Guggenheim, and that didn't happen. But I still felt like I wasn't able to connect with her, at least not yet. I also found her acting kind of weak, especially when she was talking to Echo about how fast they could run. But I'm interested in where her storyline will go, and I'm especially interested in learning what happened during her time in the anomaly last season with Octavia and Diosa. I hope we get to see her childhood so we can see how close they became, because they seem to have a strong connection based on Hope's vision of Octavia, where Octavia called herself Auntie O. Speaking of visions, that leads us to Echo. Echo has been a character who I've been very divisive on, but I started liking her toward the end of last season once they started expanding her character. Now this episode she didn't have her haircut from the trailer yet, and I think that'll have to do something with going into the anomaly. I'm actually looking forward to her storyline this season as she's finally separated from Bellamy, because so far she's been very dependent on him, and until last season she was not allowed to grow as her own character. So I'm looking forward to getting to see Echo this season, not just Bellamy's girlfriend. But anyway, while Hope had a vision of Octavia, with Echo's vision we got to see Ash, or Leto Echo, along with a surprise return from Rowan. I was not expecting this at all, and it was nice to see him again, even if it was for a few seconds. Now, the interesting thing about this was that Hope's vision seemed to actually be Octavia delivering a message from inside the anomaly, while Echo's could not work that way because Rowan is dead. Gabriel was the character that I cared the least about this episode. He didn't have much to do, but I kinda see some chemistry with him and Echo, although I liked him for Octavia before, so I'm not sure. Also, in the scene of these three going into the anomaly, the music seemed really random and out of place, but I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes next episode, which seemed to mostly be focused on the anomaly storyline based on the trailer. Now, on to the other main storyline of the episode, with Clarke and all the other characters trying to rebuild Sanctum and once again avoid a conflict. I was shocked at the beginning of the episode to see them living in an actual house. This felt so weird because they've never lived in our type of civilization. The last time we saw something like that was in the City of Light. It was also so weird to see some of them wearing normal clothes and being so happy like a normal family. They even had a dog. But it was nice to see them having a happy life for a little, although this would usually only happen in a dream sequence or a series finale, so of course the happiness didn't last. It was also great to finally have Indra back. I really missed her last season. She's one of my favorite characters. And although I hated Murphy the last few seasons, he kinda started growing on me this episode now that he feels guilty for Abby's death. And I was mad at Jackson throughout the episode for doubting him and not accepting him as part of their group. I've never really liked Jackson anyway. Also, Louisa said on the live stream after the premiere on Instagram that she's always struggled with comedy, but I found some of her lines pretty funny this episode. And speaking of Amori and Murphy, I like them more than last season this episode, and I'm glad they feel like they have found a purpose by pretending to be the Primes. But that's probably going to end up hurting them in the future. Then we have Jordan, who I was excited for last season because I knew the actor from Degrassi, but I really can't stand him now. However, I'm curious what it is that him and Russell saw. Could it have been what's inside the anomaly? Speaking of Russell, his arc throughout the episode was that he wanted to die, but he was not being given that opportunity. He was truly a man who lost everything, his friends, his wife, his daughter, and he's not even in his own time anymore. He's all alone. I feel like he still blames Clarke for Josie's death because he doesn't want to admit that he's the one that started all the suffering in his life. He's the one that killed Josie originally, and admitting that to himself would make him lose his last bit of humanity he has. Finally, we had Clarke, Maddie, and Gaia. It was weird seeing Maddie wearing a white dress and being kind of a normal girl at the beginning, but that's not gonna last long because one crew still sees her as Hedda, and just like with the Primes, that's going to backfire on them once they find out the truth. But the most interesting part was the return of Wanheda in two different ways. So Maddie was drawing memories that were not her own. They belonged to the other commanders, and one of them was Clarke as Wanheda, which is Lexa's memory. Now my theory about this connects to what happened at the end, because we also had the return of the Dark Commander, Sheiheda. So Sheiheda transferred himself to Russell's mind drive when the flame was destroyed, and now he killed Russell in his mind and has taken over his body. But the commanders were not able to transfer themselves because Sheiheda had killed him last season. So what if by doing that, they became part of Maddie, and that's why she's seen their memories, because now they are living inside of her without the need for the flame. But back to Sheiheda, I'm so glad he's back. I was really interested in his story last season, and was disappointed in how easily he was defeated. I know people hated her, but I think that he's the most intriguing villain since Allie. However, I'm curious how it'll be now that Russell's actor is going to be playing him, because I don't know if I can see him as Sheiheda. Now back to Clarke. Her storyline this episode was that once again, like back in season 1, she was trying to take control of the situation and create peace. She tried so hard throughout the episode to be fair and not go back to the mistakes they made on Earth. But by the end of the episode, she finally breaks, and I feel like this is where Wanheda also returned. When she finally let her rage out and attacked Russell and shouted that Russell Prime must die tonight, once again becoming the commander of Dev. Just like him, she's lost everything throughout the show. Her dad, Finn, Lexa, Irv, her friends for a while, her mom, and almost Maddie. And she's tried to be a leader, but no one ever accepts her. Gaia is someone else that has lost something. She has lost her purpose in life. She devoted her whole life to the flame, and now the flame is gone, but she's trying to avoid that by being there for Maddie. I really feel like there could be something between Clarke and Gaia, especially because of what it could mean for them. I've always preferred Clarke with Lexa, although I was opening up to the fact that she could probably end up with Bellamy. But now this episode I saw chemistry between them, and I kind of want to see her with Gaia. There were also plenty of Princess Mechanic moments this episode, but what I liked about that is that it looks like Raven is improving this season and not being as annoying like she was last season. Anyway, this was a great premiere in my opinion. I love how it joined together so many storylines by the end, and it brought back the feeling of the early seasons with the conflict between the several different groups. I just wish we could get to see more of them, but hopefully that'll happen later on in the season. And the whole last 10 minutes were amazing and had great acting from Eliza. Next episode seems to be exploring the anomaly storyline more, so hopefully that becomes more interesting for me. I will give this episode a 9 out of 10, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the final season. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for similar content, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.